Diamond 88.7 FM, Iroyin.
From the news desk of Diamond 88.7 FM, Iroyin, this is News on the Hour.
In the headlines, ex-army spokesman backs Nigerian troop deployment to Benin amid regional security concerns. Remi Tinubu describes backlash over interaction with Adeleke as needless controversy. Accord Party clears Adeleke for Osun governorship primary. 7 APC Osun governorship aspirants step down after meeting with Tinubu. On foreign scene, fire in South China residential building kills 12. In sports, AFCON 2025, Uganda to play 2 friendlies ahead of Super Eagles clash. Good afternoon and thank you for staying with us on Diamond 88.7 FM. Iroyin, this is the news on the hour. I am Bisola Oduwole Suleiman. We'll bring you details of the news after this break. Please stay with us.
See, wait, he's from our tribe and we have the same religion, so we have to protect our own. Our tribe isn't corrupt. I beg you, leave him now, our Peking.
Wait, stop and think. Do you realize that the impact of corruption and careless decisions by that clansman or family member of yours doesn't know tribalism or nepotism? Let's hold everyone accountable for a better society and country. If you see something, say something to the right authorities.
This message is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM, Iroyin.
Welcome back from that break. Please note that you can listen to us via our website www.diamondfm.net or watch us live on Facebook at Diamond 87 FM and YouTube Diamond FM. Iroyin, now the news in detail. Former Nigerian Army spokesman Brigadier General Usman Sani has supported Nigeria's deployment of troops to Benin Republic following a failed military coup. Speaking on national television monitored by Diamond FM on Wednesday, Sani emphasized that Nigeria, as a neighboring country, has a duty to intervene to prevent regional instability and humanitarian crisis, including the potential influx of refugees. Sani highlighted the broader implications of unrest in neighboring countries on Nigeria's economy, trade and security, urging citizens to understand the rationale behind the development. He stressed that beyond quelling the coup, stabilizing democratic governance in Benin is crucial, particularly given the influence of proxy conflicts in the region.
The growing concern in respect of this development of, the Senate approving the deployment of Nigerian troops in Benin Republic. They said necessity is the mother of invention. And if you look at the relationship, and that is one of the things that people hardly understand, the complexity of the Nigerian society. In the sense that, look at, geographically we are surrounded by other countries, some of whom mostly French. In fact, almost all of them are French speaking. Luckily enough now, renewed understanding and all the rest of the thing. Now, the problem, any slightest problem in any of these countries, it has corresponding consequences on Nigeria, regardless of the fact that sometimes, some of the countries, they are not even as populous as a state out of the 6 states of the Federation. With that notwithstanding, take for instance, if there is any problem, the issue of humanitarian problem, for instance, how do we contend with refugees from Benin Republic?
The federal government on Wednesday arraigned former Minister of Aviation Stella Odua before an Abuja High Court of an alleged 2.4 billion naira fraud. Odua, alongside Gloria Odita, faced a 5-count charge bordering on conspiracy, obtaining by false pretense, and criminal breach of trust. The prosecution alleged that the defendants fraudulently obtained 2.4 billion naira from the Ministry of Aviation in 2014 under the guise of payments for technical supervision and security logistics services. According to the charges, the defendants allegedly secured 839.78 million naira in January 2014 and another 1.63 billion naira in February 2014 through Broadwaters Resources Nigeria Limited and Global Offshore Marine Limited, claiming the funds were for contracted services that prosecutors say were fictitious. Still in the news, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has detained former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami SAN, after he allegedly failed to meet the bail conditions granted to him. A senior EFCC source confirmed that Malami remained in custody as of 10 p.m. on Tuesday, pending his ability to fulfill the required conditions. According to the source, the former minister is being questioned over multiple allegations, including money laundering, terrorism financing, and issues relating to the recovery of Abacha loot from Switzerland and the island of Jersey in the UK. The EFCC said Malami was initially granted bail but could not meet the terms, adding that he would remain in custody until he complies. Nobel laureate Professor Wale Soyinka has raised concerns over what he described as the extravagant security escort attached to Seyi Tinubu, son of President Bola Tinubu. Speaking at the 20th Wale Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism Awards in Lagos, Soyinka recounted a recent encounter at a hotel in Ikoyi, where he witnessed what he called an excessively large security battalion accompanying the president's son. Soyinka said the entourage was so overwhelming that he contacted National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu to verify why a child of the head of state required such a deployment. He emphasized that children of leaders must recognize their place in a democracy and should not inherit the architecture of state power simply by proximity.
What happened? On one of my home visits, this about 2 months ago, I was coming out of a hotel and I saw what looked like a film set. And I said, oh, they're shooting a film. That was on the grounds of this hotel. And a young man detached himself from the actors, came over and greeted me, very polite, very nice young man. And I looked around. There was nearly a whole battalion occupying the grounds of that hotel, in Ikoyi, right here. So I got back in my car and I asked the driver who that young man was, and he told me. And I saw this SWAT team, a mixture. They were at least heavily armed, at least some 15 or so heavily armed to the teeth security personnel. Looked sufficient to take over a small country, neighboring city like Benin. And I think the next time the president should just call and say, Seyi, go and quell the rebellion over there.
The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has dismissed the criticism trailing her interaction with the Osun State Governor, Ademola Adeleke, at the Oni of Ife's 10th coronation anniversary, describing the public reactions as a needless controversy. In a statement shared on her Facebook page on Tuesday, Mrs. Tinubu said minor issues were often amplified by critics, adding that leaders understand their responsibilities without constant public misinterpretation. A viral video from the event had shown Governor Adeleke briefly pausing his speech after singing before Mrs. Tinubu approached the podium and whispered to him, a moment that generated widespread debate online. The incident has seen split opinions, with some, including Osun Governor's aide Akintunde Bello and ADC chieftain Dele Momodu, criticizing the First Lady's gesture as inappropriate and disrespectful to an elected official. Still on the local scene, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN Femi Falana, has called on Nigeria to address domestic issues such as poverty, insecurity and political repression to effectively lead regional efforts against military takeovers. Speaking on national television reported by Diamond FM today, the human rights lawyer warned that Nigeria cannot export stability while internal drivers of unrest remain unaddressed. Falana stressed the need to strengthen civic freedoms, expand political participation, and allow genuine opposition to thrive. He urged the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to register ideological parties and criticize the shrinking of Nigeria's political space, arguing that credible elections require competitive opposition and political pluralism. And in Osun State, the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has been declared to contest in the Accord Party's governorship primary scheduled for today in Osogbo. Elder Ibe Thengod, chairman of the screening committee and the party's national organizing secretary, confirmed that Adeleke met all requirements for nomination and participation. The committee reviewed all documents submitted by the governor and certified him as the sole aspirant for the party's governorship ticket. Thank God also noted that all mandatory documentation with relevant authorities had been completed, presenting Adeleke with a certificate of clearance and describing him as a credible candidate capable of leading the party to victory. In response, Governor Adeleke thanked the screening committee and party leadership for their confidence, affirming his readiness for both the primary and the 2026 governorship election. And lastly, on the local scene, 7 governorship aspirants in Osun State under the All Progressives Congress (APC) have withdrawn from the party's primary, agreeing to support Bola Oyebamiji as the consensus candidate. The decision followed the meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa on Wednesday. The meeting, however, was boycotted by aspirant Iyola Omishore, who had previously dismissed his disqualification from the party as a joke. Those who stepped down include former Deputy Governor Benedict Olugboyega Alabi, Dotun Babayemi, Akin Ogunbiyi, Senator Babajide Omowurare, Kunle Adegoke, Babatunde Akatia Oralusi, and Mulikat Abiola Jimo, clearing the path for Oyebamiji ahead of the party's governorship primary. And that's it on the local scene. The news on the hour is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. Coming up next is news on the foreign scene. On the foreign scene, a fire that erupted in a presidential building in Shantou, Guangdong Province, southern China on Tuesday night has killed 12 people, state media reported on Wednesday. The blaze broke out around 9:20 p.m. in the 4-story building and was extinguished shortly after 10 p.m., according to the local fire department. The Chaonan District Fire and Rescue Team said the building was a self-built reinforced concrete structure covering about 150 square meters. Initial reports had indicated 8 deaths, with 4 injured individuals taken to the hospital. But Xinhua later confirmed the total death toll at 12. Authorities said investigations into the cause of the fire and subsequent handling of the aftermath are ongoing. Still on the foreign scene, South Korea and Japan on Wednesday condemned joint air patrols by Chinese and Russian military aircraft near their territories, prompting both nations to scramble fighter jets. Seoul said it lodged formal protests with Beijing and Moscow, while Tokyo expressed serious concerns over what it described as a threat to national security. The patrol involved 2 Russian Tu-95 bombers and 2 Chinese H-6 bombers conducted a coordinated flight around Japan. The incident heightened regional tensions coming amid a diplomatic dispute between Japan and China over recent comments by Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi on Taiwan. And that's it on the foreign scene. Moving into the world of sports. Uganda's Cranes Group C opponents of Nigeria's Super Eagles at AFCON 2025 will play 2 friendly matches to prepare for the tournament. Head coach Paul Put confirmed upon arriving in Morocco. The team will face FAR Rabat on December 13 and Gabon on December 17 as part of their build-up. The Cranes manager noted that preparations have been challenging due to limited player availability, with only 15 players currently at the camp. Uganda has launched an 11-day training camp in Morocco, where 17 players are already present, while the remaining 13 will join later. The Cranes will also face former champions Tunisia and Tanzania in the group stage. Still in sports news, former Nigeria international Tijani Babangida has called on the Super Eagles to reclaim the national pride by winning the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON in Morocco. Speaking to newsmen, he said lifting the Continental Trophy would help heal the disappointment following Nigeria's failure to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Babangida highlighted the pain of the back-to-back World Cup qualification misses, including the loss to the Democratic Republic of Congo on penalties, and stressed that AFCON now represents the most realistic chance to restore confidence among players, the NFF, and the football fans. And that's it in the world of sport. With that, we've come to the end of the news on the hour for today. But before we go, here is a recap of the major highlights. Ex-Army spokesperson backs Nigerian troop deployment to Benin amid regional security concerns. Remi Tinubu describes backlash over interaction with Adeleke as needless controversy. Accord Party clears Adeleke for Osun governorship primary. 7 APC Osun governorship aspirants step down after meeting with Tinubu. On foreign scene, fire in South China residential building kills 12. In sports, AFCON 2025, Uganda to play 2 friendlies ahead of Super Eagles clash. And those are the major headlines as brought to you this afternoon. Before we wrap up the news, we take a look at our Today in History segment. Did you know that on this day in 1917, Finland's declaration of independence on December 6 received broader international recognition, solidifying its status as a sovereign nation? Now you know. For news coverage or information about happenings around you, kindly contact the Diamond FM newsroom number on 091-606-27526, 091-606-27526. Do join us at 3 p.m. for the news flash and at 5 p.m. for the news across the world. The news on the hour was detailed by Adeyemi Adewale. I am Bisola Oduwale Suleiman. Thank you for listening to your shining supreme station, Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilorin. Log on to our website, www.diamondfm.net, to keep up to date with us from any part of the world. Download our app on Google Play Store and iOS App Store, Diamond FM. Also follow all our social media pages at Diamond 87 FM on Instagram and Facebook, and at Diamond FM Ilorin on YouTube. Diamond 87_X on X. Thank you. Do stay tuned for the news in Yoruba coming up shortly. Good afternoon.
Who be this person when they text me now? Oh, Bolan. Oh, me I go quick check am.
Yorí ìtàgé kì í sì rẹ̀ mí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kì í sú mi. Àwọ̀ mi sì ń jí pépépé síbi tọmọ tuntun lójoojúmọ́. Ẹ fẹ́ mọ̀dí abájọ. Monomin Plus atẹ́jẹ̀ṣe oògùn tó ń fi epo ẹja cod liver oil ṣẹjọ́ ẹ̀ food supplement ni.